Hi everyone, it's Bella, and today I'd like to talk to you about the new moon at 4 degrees of Virgo on the 27th of August 2022. Now, the sun is in the house of Virgo right now, and this transfers our attention to the things that need to be fixed, remedied, improved, and sorted out. We are more inclined to get a to-do list in order to stay on top of things, as with Mars now also in a Mercury-ruled sign, Gemini, we have much to do and many areas that need our attention and effectiveness. You can also listen to my Mars in Gemini video, as well as the individual rising sign possibilities for the Mars Retrograde in Gemini, which will basically cause Mars to be in the sign of Gemini for almost 8 months. So we will have this Mars and Gemini energy until the end of March of 2023. So this is quite a long and busy period for everyone. Now, during Virgo season, we can often find that we are working according to someone else's needs. And this can be conflicting, as the ruler of this moon, Mercury, is currently in a Venus-ruled sign, Libra, a partnership sign. And Venus sits in Leo, where it loves to please our desires. What can help during this time is to be in the moment, from the smallest task to the grandest, to do the best with the time we have, and see to it that we just give our best moment to moment, taking one thing at a time whilst getting through our list. Small steps forward keep us moving toward our goals. This new moon can also bring about a new leaf in regards to our responsibilities and our health. We may be paying more close attention to how our daily habits and choices affect our overall well-being, and be ready to change things up in order to also allow ourselves to take better care of ourselves holistically without becoming obsessive about it. Now, this new moon in Virgo sets the tone for the next 4 weeks and is a new beginning or a new seed of intention in the area of Virgo in your chart. So you can have a look at where 4 degrees of Virgo falls for you, but in general, the Virgo house, as well as the Leo house, where Venus is, as well as the Libra house, where Mercury is currently. But this change is being asked for in the Virgo house, but it can involve these other houses and planetary rulerships as well. Now, therefore, this can also heavily affect and connect to relationships, money obligations, as well as daily responsibilities. What needs to be optimized and organized in your Virgo house? Virgo is a sign that likes to purify, simplify, get practical, and to get rid of what is not necessary in order to be the best at what we do, to optimize, to make things efficient, to be focused and productive. That is the wonderful qualities that Virgo can hold. Now, this new moon is making an exact square to Mars, newly ingressed in Gemini, as I said, and with Mercury in Libra, we're really looking at what is out of balance at this time. We could possibly feel under attack with some encounters. Therefore, it is crucial to watch for needless disputes, irritability, impulsivity, or overreacting in a very emotional way. This aspect can also test our validity of a position that we take, as well as we are also now in meticulous Virgo energy. The chances that everything we do and say can be under micromanagement or judging eyes, looking for every little flaw possible. Therefore, rather prepare for being under a microscope and do the best you can. Breathe when things are moving fast and remind yourself that tomorrow is another day and that you do not have to do it all by yourself. You do the best you can and you ask for help where you need it. We can be more accident prone at this time, so be present and mindful of your actions. Think before you do and take extra care of your health right now on all levels, body, mind, and soul, and exercise in order to get rid of excess stress and energy. And during Virgo season especially, it can be helpful to exercise in the mornings to start your day with your health regime, if you want to say that, in order to then ripple effect through the rest of your day with a clearer mind and a more balanced energy. Regardless of all of this, Mercury in Libra is trining Mars in Gemini and also trining Pluto, and Mercury rules the new moon. And this aids in solving problems and being able to handle hard mental challenges as well. You will not be as easily discouraged and you will have more gutso to stand confident in what you believe, which will balance off the energy of procrastination that can sometimes occur with Mercury in Libra, or a feeling of indecision. This energy is also great for public speaking or getting your point across. If you have held back on something that you've been wanting to say to someone or do, this aspect will make it much easier for you to now advance this notion or to make a brave decision on something that you feel very strongly about. There's also more chances of being transformed somehow on a mental level, quite deeply about somebody else's opinion or information coming in. This mental change can be powerfully utilized to also make physical, real changes in your life, because everything obviously starts in the mind before it can be manifested outwardly. So the changes right now are very internal. They might not be physically be able to be seen by others, but you are aware of the changes that are occurring within you. Also, especially now with so many planets retrograde already, and with Mars also becoming retrograde at the end of October. So we're going into a very internalized time, also with Uranus in retrograde. And just as an example of the mental transformation or a change in how you perceive something that maybe previously you didn't see before, with somebody else's opinion or a story of somebody else that you come upon. For example, maybe you meet someone that has lung cancer and they have now just been diagnosed, and you smoke every day. And this is a daily habit that you have had for many years, and you get really irritated when others comment on it or when others try and remind you of your health, and you actually meet someone in a parking lot or at a grocery store that suddenly starts telling you about their journey and how they are now smoke-free and on a holistic journey to health. And it's suddenly the conversation sparks for you to see things from a different angle and for yourself to realize what it is, what negative daily habits it is for you that you need to start taking more seriously. What is it that you can purify? What is it that you can let go of and change in order for you to become more healthy? And this is just an example of smoking itself. I mean, this could be anything. This could be negative thinking or just the way you approach something. The way you approach even just making your meals and eating more healthy because of the bigger picture involved, not just seeing everything as a singled out by itself, separated from everything else, but that all the little things are yet connected, building blocks for bigger things to come. Now, Mercury is also opposing Jupiter during this new moon, and usually this can make us miss the details or overlook them. It can give us arrogance in some cases as well. But with the strong Virgo energy currently, I think that we can have the best of both worlds now, where we can be optimistic as well as grand, as well as thorough and effective, making sure all the small parts work, that we cover all the angles, and that we don't mind being checked or graded because we know we did what we could, allowing for more accurate perceptions and judgments, which will greatly influence our decisions. Now, Venus also opposes Saturn, and it disposits over Mercury in Libra, the ruler of the new moon. This again emphasizes the coldness of the new moon energy. So there is a very business-like feel, getting things in order, setting our emotions aside to get things done. To be effective, but there's yet that square to Mars, which can bring up emotional triggers. But at the end of the day, this is really affecting us in our finances, as well as what we value and our close relationships and partnerships. And there can be a real cold energy with this. So some can also feel lonely under this energy, or just more melancholy than usual. Your sense of duty and responsibilities can be in conflict with what you desire or what you would rather be doing instead. And encounters with others can feel more distant and lack warmth in some cases. Separation and blockages in connection to love, money, and relationships can occur. It's also important to really pay attention to your feelings and what they bring your attention to, because this is directly connected to your truth and your purpose at the end of the day. And we're really being asked here, what is it in our daily lives that is not contributing to where we want to go and who we want to be and how we want to live our lives? It's the little things every day that adds up and that become the big things. And with Venus in Leo, we're much more in tune on what we really desire right now. So it's easier for us to see with a more critical clarity with this Virgo energy, to really see what it is that we need and what needs to go and what needs to stay and what do we need to work on, what can we fix in our daily routines to bring us closer to where we want to be. So we really need to be honest about our feelings, and also not to be people pleasers during this time. Virgo is a service sign. It's a sign of devotion that serves and that helps and wants to make things better, wants to find solutions to problems. But you cannot be everything to everyone. You first have to put the oxygen mask on your own face first before you can be of help to anyone else. And it's important, especially in relationships right now, that you do not people please by pretending to feel things that you're not feeling. It's also important to realize that there can be a lot of no's right now, meaning it's not the right time for something that you would have liked to start or that you wanted to do. Or it's, maybe you've been told you need surgery, but you cannot go for surgery right now because they can't operate because you smoke. So you first have to quit smoking before they are willing to do surgery. So it could be something similar to that as an example. So in some cases, there's just a no right now for certain things that might not be at the right time. It's not ready yet. On top of that, we also have Venus squaring Uranus. And the more rigid our relationships are, the more difficult this can be, as the freedom in them may be tested at this time as well. It can be a great time to spice things up though, but if it's not channeled properly, this can cause arguments and unexpected results, breakups, and even sudden revelations or information or sudden decision that is made. On a positive note, new and different people can enter your life, or you may feel like doing a drastic aesthetic change. It's important though to not do any plastic surgery or any permanent changes to your look that you might regret later on. So if it's something that's, like a tattoo or something that's very permanent, it's better to wait for this energy, as you may end up with something that you didn't want. So make sure whatever you're doing, it'll grow back or it's changeable eventually. It would be good to be mindful of our spending during this time as well. But overall, you want stimulation and excitement with this transit, so try something different. Spice up your daily routines, change things around a bit so that it's more interesting, and so forth. Now, Venus is also squaring the nodes, and this again brings up more of difficulty and blockages in regards to love relationships and money issues, especially, and then also with Saturn opposing Venus as well. Now, Mars is sextile Jupiter, and this can improve the clarity of our objectives and can bring opportunities for personal growth and expand the range of our activities and experience. So we're already in a very busy time, but we're learning a lot and we're improving our skills and we are getting better daily. Saturn is still squaring Uranus, so this is an ongoing energy with an area in our lives that we would like to free ourselves in or from something where we might feel stifled by others in some way through some kind of responsibility or feeling of guilt of some kind. So it's again important to recognize where these things are becoming unbearable and where change is required. And even though we might not be able to make that full change at this time, we're becoming aware of it. We are finding out where we can become more flexible and start with little things till we can eventually free ourselves. Saturn is also squaring the nodes as well. And this again is the integrating of the nature of your soul with the material reality that surrounds you, basically. You know, it's that living with our purpose that's on everybody's mind, I feel. It feels like we're in some kind of a deadlock in an area of our life, whether it's we're dealing with some kind of authority or certain responsibilities or certain structural elements of life that's connected to either shame or boundaries or guilt or responsibility of some kind. And it's important to remember that belonging does not always mean conformity. It also looks like fulfilling one's role and the integration process, excuse me, of being recognized by the community enough to be able to fulfill that role. And with Saturn in Aquarius, this can really relate to the skill sets of formalizing one's way of living enough that it works, a necessary degree of Saturn to have a functional life, but still have a meaningful life. So it's very important for us to pay attention to what we're willing to let go of now in order to make room for new to grow. And of course, we still have Uranus also conjunct the North Node and recently retrograde. Now, with this conjunction, we are attracting people and lessons into our lives that are encouraging us to change from conventions and things that have kept us in a certain mental box or a certain type of thinking that has kept us from moving forward or from really growing. So we're breaking free on an energetic level, upgrading, so to speak, on many levels. And by also the experiences in our lives and the people coming in and out of our lives right now. It's very important to trust who comes and goes at this time and what feels good, what feels right, what resonates with you when you're around these people or this circumstances or this place. What is it that feels right? The life lessons we are dealing with now are about learning to be more self-sufficient, whilst also concerning ourselves with bettering the world around us, being of service to others, which is very, very, very connected to Virgo and the season we're going into now. The community and society in mind. And it's about retraining ourselves to change our definition of comfort, of abundance, of opulence, of security, of pleasure. Our values are changing. And we're very aware of the values we find or see now in society and how that's changing or degrading. And we are redefining what it means to be secure and comfortable and wealthy. So these are all the things that Virgo has so much to do with on a daily basis. This new moon is asking you to stay humble, to do what you need to do in confidence and honesty, to purify and detox from anything that is not moving you higher and further to your truth and your purpose, or closer to your goals. So sharpen your tools and your skills, refine, improve, and above all, if someone says no, or if you fall, you get back up again. You improve, you solve, you dig, you research, and you try again. Don't sweat the small stuff, but yet do sweat the small stuff, as they are the functioning pieces and the building blocks of the big stuff. And ultimately, the little habits you do every single day are eventually shaping you. It's programming you, it's forming your cells and moving you forward towards something. What is that something for you? Are the small things, the everyday things, taking you eventually to where you need to be? What you need to be or what you need to do? Is it good for you? What needs to change? What needs to go? What needs to be pruned? What do you no longer want? Where do you need to simplify and get practical? Where are you putting your energy? Where are you investing your time? Where have you changed? Where are you being appreciated? Where are you not? What and who do you value now? Stay flexible. Use the time to research, especially if you're in a no period, and get clarity on what you want by tapping into your feelings. Look into your triggers and figure out what you really want and where are you going to begin every day. What are you changing? What are you purifying? Refine, proofread, double check, prune towards growth and optimization. Collectively, we could also expect more news or action that is connected to health issues, even anger and lawsuits pertaining to this, and even new legislation is possible. But a lot of news, information coming about in regards to the health industry as well. Now, I would like to read to you the Sabian symbol for the first degree of Libra, where Mercury, the ruler of this moon, is found. Now, the first degree of Libra is also on the world axis, and therefore this new moon will most definitely, probably, have an impact on a world scale. So this could trigger something that we collectively would be able to see, most likely. Now, the keynote is the immortal archetypal reality that a perfect and dedicated life reveals. Now, this symbol reveals to the intuitive consciousness the essential character of the second hemicycle. In the yearly cycle, we have reached the fall equinox, the symbolic time of bringing in the harvest in preparation for winter. It is the time consecrated to the seed, just as the spring equinox is consecrated to the germ, the new rise of life, which informs the growth of individual organisms. At this autumnal point, the drive toward individualization and self-assertion has lost much of its momentum. While a new trend is successfully and dynamically challenging its hegemony, the trend toward the formation of collectivities of individuals. But this new trend can be misunderstood if seen only superficially as the mere gathering together of individual persons. The process has a much deeper meaning, and indeed, an inner source of power. For what is at stake is not merely an aggregation of separate units, simple or already complex, as in the case of families. At the core of this coming together, the descent or externalization of archetypal realities is gradually occurring. At the Libra stage, these archetypal realities are forms. At the Scorpio stage, they will be powers. The symbol for this degree of the fall equinox thus describes a perfect form, the result of the metamorphosis of worm into butterfly, a process the symbolism of which has so often been used to indicate to man the possibility of his being transformed into more than man, the transhuman being, the true initiate, the adept, the perfect. The perfect butterfly is impaled by a fine dart. The symbol of dart of wisdom was used in Mark Jones's mimeographed course, while the original notation of what the clairvoyant had seen indicated a butterfly made perfect by a dart through it, suggesting a process of perfection through sacrifice. As I see it, the dart can hardly be said to have made the butterfly perfect, but it keeps it perfect by killing the living organism. The impaled butterfly is preserved by the dart which fixes it in perfection for a whole cycle. For example, it makes an archetype of it, but thus escaping the normal process of dying and decay, the butterfly form, the perfection is kept. It is kept in the mystical Shambhala, where it is said that the pattern of man is kept, just as the perfect bar measuring exactly 1 meter is or was kept in a crypt in Paris, where the metric system was originally devised. The perfect butterfly thus represents the outcome of the process of occult discipleship, symbolized by the sign Virgo. From then on, a new process begins, that of collectivization. At the very core of that new process, the perfect form of man must remain as a standard of value, if this process is to be valid and meaningful. This is the first statement in the 13th scene of the great ritual drama. It is an actional phase because in it the perfection of individual activity is revealed and immortalized. This is the symbolical transfiguration at the Mount of Transfiguration. The Son of Man, Jesus, was impaled by the ray of divine light, making of him a son of God. It was at this very moment that he learned of the crucifixion awaiting him. Thus, the merely human individual is made sacred, becoming the pure embodiment of an archetype. Thank you for listening. You can also check out my Mars Retrograde video, the collective one I would highly recommend you listen to. And then there's also one for each rising sign that is more focused on the possibilities for each individual rising sign. So you can check that out. I'll link that in the description box below. May the sun shine bright on you this day. May there be blessings coming your way. And remember, success doesn't come from what you do occasionally. It comes from what you do consistently. Bye-bye.